These people tried to scam me. There's slime balls out there. What they did was possibly all legal, but highly unethical. $50,000. The answer is no on we're all working in cahoots. They were trying to dupe me into tens of thousands of dollars in cash for me at closing. Isn't it just sickening? It's despicable. Welcome back to Freeman's Garage Extra. This is another house/garage moving update. I'm sure you've been following the saga of my divorced single fatherness, having to move from one state to another dilemma, which put a hold on all the project vehicles. This is gonna be a pretty good update because a lot's gone on, and I've learned a lesson or two. So let's grab a Buick seat and yeah. I think you're gonna want to hear this installment of the sad story. Jeez, this seat's heavy. Where do we want to sit? Which Chevy do we want to sit next to? On the back! You know what? Are my pants getting smaller or am I getting bigger? Oh, sad but true. Oh, I think we're stuck forward. This is why I don't mess with anything that's not just a cable or a pulley. Oh, these pants. Okay, I can't sit. Hold on. You know, there's 3 vehicles in this garage, and we can't get inside of either one of them. Ah, just ripped a fingernail right off. Ah, getting fat, I'm out of breath. I'm not old, but getting older. Can of chemicals. But you know what? I'm not stressed out, believe it or not. Yeah. Boy, this moving debacle's been going on for months now. We were cruising along here at Freeman's Garage working on projects, and then my kid's mom decides to move from Texas up to Oklahoma, which is whatever. I didn't choose Texas either. And my daughter and I were very close, and we want to keep everyone together. That's what works best for us. You know, of course, she, was doing everything on her own accord, on her own time, right? So got it all set up where she found a place up there in the market where there's not a lot available. And so that all worked out perfect for her. It's been several months now. She's been comfy in her mansion on a hill, and I'm down at the bottom getting jerked around, trying to sell this place. That's where the challenges began. There's 2 main challenges. Main challenge number 1 is that up in the hills of East Oklahoma, it's very rural, and the market there just moves just slow all the time. It's just slow, especially when you're very far away from an interstate, and there's not a lot to choose from anyhow. Main challenge number 2, down here in the heart of Texas, where normally things, move a little bit quicker, it's not moving quicker. It's been just stagnant for months, those gosh darn interest rates. And when the current home has to sell to be able to buy the new home, but the current home isn't selling, that presents a challenge. And you've seen the previous update video, so you know all about how I actually was on a contingent deal for a place on 12 acres, and kind of got screwskied on that one. Yes, they didn't want to wait for me. We had reached a point where summer break from school was ending, and I want my daughter to start at one school and finish at one school. So even though she's normally with me the majority of the time, she went with her mother up to Oklahoma so that she could start the school year up there. And that was a big change because my daughter and I usually are never apart from each other for more than 24 hours. And after several weeks of making, close to 1,000-mile round trips going up to Oklahoma and back, a guy started to think, maybe this house isn't going to sell as fast as I thought it would. Because, when you're in that honeymoon period, you put the house on the market and you're thinking, oh, any second that call's gonna, yeah. It never came. So eventually I bought a 34-foot camper. Don't mean to brag, but it's got slide outs. So I pulled that big sucker all the way up into the Ozark Mountains and set up camp, and we've been together ever since. It's been working out great. And actually, you know what? If it was just me, I actually might not even buy a house, because the camper's more than enough, and the camper's, yeah, I like the camper. But you gotta give your kid, especially a girl, a bedroom, all that kind of stuff. You don't want your kid to be the camper kid at school. Unless all the kids are camper kids. Yeah, then you'd be the weird one then you'd be weird. So that's where I've been for the last couple of months. I haven't been down here really at all, so nothing has been getting done on any of this stuff, unfortunately. But that's all changing now, because I'm down here at the Texas location, and I'll tell you why I'm down here in just a minute. But first, I gotta tell you about some of the wild and wacky real estate issues I've been having down here in Texas and up there in Oklahoma. I'll tell you about the Texas real estate woes first. I don't know what it is, but in this market, in this area here, the buyers act like they're spoiled brats and they should get brand new construction for used price. I don't know where it comes from. It's just how it is in this area. But this house isn't even 20 years old. There is nothing wrong with this house, but they come through and they want brand new windows. They want a chimney sweep to inspect the chimney. They want a fence company to come out, HVAC, plumbing. They want every service company you can imagine. They want me to have all of them come out here and inspect every single system. And they want different insulation in the attic. They want a new roof for free. And I'll tell you why. One reason why they act like that is this whole home inspection thing these days. A lot of shoppers in this area, for some reason, they all do it. They all get a home inspection, and then they treat it as if it's a shopping list to get tens of thousands of dollars and stuff for free. That's not what it's for. It's so you know what you're getting into, and there's give and take in a real estate transaction. If they were to say, well, that fence is kind of leaning a little bit, we'd really feel good if that was good to go when we moved in. Okay, we can take care of that. But when they want a brand new roof for free, they want appliances, they want all this stuff, and on top of it, this one buyer in particular even wanted me to cut the grass right before closing. I'm going to cut the grass for you and give you a free roof? So this has happened a few times, but the worst of all for the Texas woes is when these people tried to scam me. Let me add this on before I tell you about the scammers. I don't think that the buyers in this area came down with last night's rain, but I think a lot of them don't really understand how this whole process works. Not every home inspector or home service company is the same, but in the case of my contracts that I've been under with selling this house, the buyer's agent is recommending that the buyers hire a home inspector. The home inspector comes out, writes this massive list justifying what he's charging for his services, and see, look how great I am. Look at how detailed I get and all this stuff I find. But because I'm not actually qualified to do anything with anything, I recommend that you have a professional company come in and look more into this stuff. So you've got somebody who's not qualified to work on an HVAC system tell the potential buyer, I don't know, I kind of looked. And the buyer, they don't know. So then the message relayed through the agents back to me is, well, they're asking for an HVAC company to come out and do an inspection of the HVAC system. Again, not every case, but there's slime balls out there, as you'll discover when I get to the next part of this story. If you call a roofer up and say, I don't know this roof, there's something going on. Okay. And they drive an hour out to the house and they get up on a big ladder and they go up there. Do you think they're going to come down and say, I didn't see anything? Or do you think they're going to find hail damage, etc., etc.? Anyways, my point is you've got these poor potential buyers in a position where they found a house they like and they should buy it. And if there's anything they want to do to the house, they can do it when it's theirs. But they've got a home inspector, they've got home service companies suggesting to them that there's all this tens of thousands of dollars of stuff that needs to be done. They get freaked out and they back out when the seller says no, because then it looks as if the seller is, the seller's house is falling apart. It has all these issues and they're being cheap. They won't help out. They won't take care of anything. They're just trying to dump a piece of garbage on us. And now for the scammers. And what they did was possibly all legal, but highly unethical. There was a real estate agent in San Antonio who said that their cousin, they disclosed that their client is their cousin, which is fine. Their cousin lives out of state and really wants to buy my house. But they got to see it first, of course, Skeeter. But they don't want anyone to get it before them, so they put up $3,500 in earnest money and locked the house into a contract. And then they scheduled for a home inspection, and they were going to fly in on the same day as the home inspection and be here at the house for the inspection. So it would be the buyer, the home inspector, their agent, and my agent all here at the same time. And they did that. That went off without a hitch. But a couple days later, when the inspection report came back, according to the home inspector, basically this house is falling down and it's a complete pile of garbage, and it needs windows, it needs flooring, it needs doors, outlets have to be replaced, the breaker box is wrong, the roof is bad, everything's rotting, everything's falling apart. It needs dang near $50,000 in work. So they ask for all that, and it's as if, well, here's the inspection report. This is what the inspector found. And so if we're going to buy the house, then, we would like these things to be addressed. But in lieu of taking care of all this stuff, the seller can give us, I think it was $30,000 or $35,000 at closing. And for one, this was supposedly going to be a VA loan, which I don't think you're allowed to even give cash at closing like that to the buyer with the VA loan. I could be wrong, not legal advice. That's when we just, the answer is no on everything. And then within minutes of that phone call, they canceled the contract. And after some sniffing around, it turns out that this buyer's agent, this buyer, and this home inspector were all working in cahoots. And the home inspector hadn't been a home inspector for very long. And the buyer, the cousin of the buyer's agent, was a contractor. And if they're related to the buyer's agent, they could skirt agent commissions, right? They were trying to dupe me into selling them my house at a crazy below market price or get tens of thousands of dollars in cash from me at closing because oh my gosh, I didn't know my house was I didn't know it was falling apart. Yeah, my house really isn't worth much, is it? Oh, I'd be lucky. I'm lucky somebody would actually want to buy it. I better take this deal. And then they can, make money off of it in a few different ways. Isn't it just sickening? It's despicable. And don't even get me started on coming back into your house after there's a showing and the blinds are like this and all the switches are flipped and the heat's on or they blah, 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 blah. And actually I never even wanted agents involved in the first place, but the whole system's kind of set up to roadblock you from the MLS. Sometimes I forget that it's not a very tidy world. Oh, geez. It's not a very tidy world. Sometimes I forget that this ain't Mayberry. Just can't get over how cool that hood ornament is. I'll tell you about the Oklahoma real estate woes real quick, which actually the new Freeman's Garage location, we might have found it. We'll get to that in a second. But I will also show you what I'm having for supper. And if there's a guitar over there, I might pick a couple notes. Gotta be careful though. Gotta be careful. You can only play so much of a song before getting sued. Let me compare the two markets real quick. Right here, it's, I wouldn't say it's yuppie. It's just city slicker. And then over yonder, it's, we got what we got and that's enough. Here you got people asking for everything plus the moon. And they're not even cleaning up the house for the listing pictures. You ain't getting nothing. Air conditioning's been broke since 1993 and they didn't fix it for themselves. You think they're going to fix it for you for free? And that's the way it should be. I don't know. My mind is kind of a mix on both trains of thought there. There's a balance somewhere. But there's not a lot available up there. I've actually, okay, about the one where I got screw-skied on. But then there was another one where I was entered into a contract on. It's just kind of going back and forth. And then that one just poof. Well, there was the property that my daughter and I went and looked at. And it came with 3 houses. Can you believe it? Yeah, she wasn't very thrilled though. She believes in me, but I don't think she believed in me rebuilding 3 mobile homes, which I was serious about for a second. I know I could do it. But it was 15 acres with a creek. Let's see, there was another one that had a big shop building with a concrete floor. It was insulated. And it had a really cool house built in the late 40s or early 50s. But, the foundation was completely gone. It was pier and beam, and it had been left to get to the point where the floor was like a cereal bowl, and it would be not just down to the studs. It would just be a complete, unfortunately, a teardown on that one. In the previous update videos, I talked a little bit about the possibility of maybe raw land and bringing a mobile home in. I've decided against that. Although I did look at some pretty neat raw land, could build a cabin, right? But the thing is you're starting with nothing, right? You got no power, you got no water, and around there, your well, you could be digging over 400 feet through rock. To get onto the property, you're starting with a wall of forest right on the edge of the road. So you're unloading an excavator on the road and then digging your way in, which is doable. That's fine. I would love to do that. But I got a kid that's going to graduate high school in 2.5 years. And probably neither one of us are going to hang out around in that area when that time comes. We'll probably skedaddle on somewhere else, probably together, actually. And, well, you never know. Your kid could join the Air Force and get stationed in Hawaii. Who the heck, what if this, what if that? This could happen, that could happen. Anyways, what's my point? There's not enough time. How long is that going to take? So it's been many months of this house here in Texas not selling and not being able to buy another one in Oklahoma, which is not much to choose from anyhow. So I've been floating around back and forth this whole time, and lately up in the camper so I can attend childrionic events and then pediatric. That doesn't even make any... My kids' events. Are those even words? And the whole time these projects have been stagnant, but here is how that could all change sooner than later. Possibly very soon, we'll have a new Freeman's Garage location. I'm going to have to tell you the whole story of how this property came about some other time, because it actually involves a life being saved. So that's its own thing. But in the Ozark Mountains, on a dead-end road, there's a big patch of woods. And inside those woods is a 50 to 60-year-old house that was built by the Cherokee Nation. And I'm in the middle of a off-market deal here that I can pull off. And the fact that I can pull it off, or I should be able to pull it off, without this house being sold first, that should tell you something about the condition of the house, because it's affordable. But it is acreage, and it is woods, and it is a house, and there's some old Ozarky mountain looking outbuildings, pretty cool looking. There's no value to the buildings, but to me there is. I think they're usable. They just need they just need a little bit of love. The good thing is, if this goes through, I've got the camper. So I can live in the camper next to the house. And what's going to be neat about that is everything I do to that house and that property will be documented on video. Wait, are we on video, or we're not on film anymore, right? Is it all video now? Is it video? I feel like going over here again. So I have negotiated a deal, but here's the thing, and this is kind of something that I've ran into in that area, with the properties that I've dealt with, is it's been more than once where I've actually have offered what somebody's asking or more for something that they have been trying to sell for a very, very, very long time, and they still find a way to not take my money, which is, I don't know, maybe it's just the way the market is there, I'm not sure. But on this deal, they've been trying to sell it for 9 months or more, and I come along and we negotiate, and I actually accepted their counteroffer, and they accept, and I'm thinking, we're in, we might do this. We're going to be moving all these cars up to Oklahoma and get back to work. Oh, excuse me. And get back to work on them. And I don't hear anything for a couple days. And then finally, I make contact and find out that, well, they're not sure now. And they said they'll call me in the morning and let me know if they want to sell. Oh. Here goes our United States Army. I'm down here with this goofy, scraggly beard, being a slob bum. And they're at work. So anyways, a couple more days go by, and I'm starting to think, oh, what's going on here? I make contact and get some story about a telephone not working properly or something, whatever. But they said, yes, we're doing it. And then a couple days go by, nothing. Where's this contract? Let's get this going. A couple more days go by, nothing. And then I finally get a hold of the seller's agent. She said that the seller has been in the cancer hospital for the past couple days and isn't thinking straight. I don't really know what's going on with that. I don't know these people. And because I like to ramble, and I own multiple ramblers, let's go over to the Rambler. But so that's the real estate update. So, of course, I wish nothing but the best, hopes and prayers, right? It's a gosh darn brutal world, right? And it's just a reminder that, your problems are nothing, You know what I mean? I got the world by the tail compared to some folks. It could always be worse. So let's take a look at, I want to show you what's going on in this garage right now. So, I haven't been here for several weeks, and oh gosh darn it, I swear I'm not going to go down a wormhole on this. Just one more rant about the real estate thing and people being in your house. So the reason why I've been letting showings take place at this house while I've been in Oklahoma is because the agent I have representing me actually just so happens to be somebody that's lived across the street. So I'm kind of getting, the neighbor treatment, right? So the place is being looked after. But I had to get down here though and just check on everything in person, just because I am the owner. I gotta get my own butt down here. And plus, to make my presence known in case, any meddling kids are thinking that there's an abandoned house that they can, throw toilet paper on. Scenery change. So here's my rant. It's very quick. I get down here, drive almost 10 hours down here. I get here at night, about midnight. I walk in the house. I wasn't even thinking about anything, but I walk in the house and turn the light on, and my first reaction was, wow, this house is mint. It is spotlessly clean. It is gorgeous in here. Because after spending so much time up in the hills of Oklahoma and, seeing how folks are living up there and being in houses, looking at them, right? And knowing that in that neck of the woods, if you're a buyer and you ask for something, you're not getting it because people either don't have the money or it's just the way it is, right? They're just not going to fix things. I guess, at least in the price range I'm shopping in. And it's just I come back here, it's as if I walk into Beverly Hills, right? And I'm just thinking, man, these picky, spoiled, rotten buyers. This isn't a neighborhood full of mansions, it's average houses, right? So who are these people? How dare they come into this house and think that it needs what they don't. They're just trying to get every little thing they can. And I'm going on the rant, and it's this inspection thing. The inspection is not you're not buying your So anyways, I drive down here, I walk in the house, and earlier in the day there was a showing. And I walk in, everything looks all right at first, and then I start noticing that all the blinds in the house are like this. Some are turned this way, some are turned that way. The strings are all tangled, and all the windows are half latched or not latched. They're unsecured. The fan switch on the thermostat was switched on, so the blower was running and circulating air. Underneath the attic access, there was insulation on the floor, so somebody was up there, probably one of these inspectors. Porch lights were on. The front and back door of the house, only the lock on the knob was locked. The deadbolts weren't locked. It looked like somebody had stood on the edge of the bathtub to stand up and look at the window, and they got dirt on the tub. There were other things, I just can't remember what they are anymore because I don't care, even though I'm ranting about it. But so whoever was in here just ransacked the place, unlatched and opened all the windows, opened and closed them, didn't latch them, just went through everything, right? Looking at the house, flipping everything, and yeah, you know, I guess the agent just, whatever, right? Just let it happen. So I fixed all that, and then I set up a spot to lay my head for the night. Which is funny because I'm going to be here for a bit and there's no furniture. And it reminds me of one time years ago when I was going through a phase where I didn't have any furniture because I thought, well, I had a kitchen chair, a straight back chair. I was going through a phase where all you need is food, water, shelter. Man, you know, I don't need furniture. That costs money. After so many months of that, my knees, my back, my legs, my whole body just ached. And then I went out and bought a couch with a recliner. And yeah, you know, after a week of sitting on that every night instead of a straight back chair, I felt great. Anyway, so I got down here and I'm laying in my bedroll at midnight trying to get some shut-eye. And it just so happens that this is right before a significant windstorm is coming through that made national headlines with gusts up to 60 miles per hour. And I'm laying there in the bedroll just listening to the shingles on my roof lift up and slam back down and lift up and slam back down. And in the morning, it turns out that, yeah, just about my entire roof is destroyed. I'm not seeing plywood, but there's a couple dozen tabs ripped off, a couple complete shingles. I did what I could. I backed my truck up to the house and put a ladder in the back of the truck and got up on the roof and laid jack stands, rusty barbed wire that was in the back of the 67 C10 for over 20 years in a barn, and a rake with a broken handle and some things like that, trying to hold down whatever I could from ripping off all the way. And then when the windstorm was over, I went back up there and started nailing things back down. So it's a good thing that I just so happened to drive down here when I did, because if I didn't, the roof would be destroyed and there would be nobody here to put the pots and pans in place. So anyways, quick rundown on the autos. Nothing has changed except for all the stuff that's crammed in here. Oh, remember, I gotta show you at the end of this video what my dinner was. Yep, this car is just packed. There's my cooler. I could really use that right now, actually, but I don't want to open this door. And, you know, what was... Oh yeah, well here's something I wanted to tell you. While I'm here for a while at the Texas house, I'm going to film some videos for the regular Freeman's Garage channel on the, with the vehicles. So look out for that. That's coming soon. Had to take advantage of that since I'm down here. Wait a second, what was that? Well, there's the Constitution. I don't even remember what's in this stuff anymore. This was a while ago and I did, this is all just packed full. There's my saddlebags. There's my Harley boots. There's electric guitar amp. There's an electric guitar. And there's an acoustic guitar. I missed that. I probably have a guitar pick in my pocket. I'm sure I do. I always have a guitar pick and a half-inch wrench. Almost a 3/4 wrench. That'd be pretty good. And I'm okay if I bang this up a bit because that's supposed to happen to guitars. And my guitars are cheap guitars, always have been. And this guitar actually was given to me. It's not the only guitar that was given to me for helping somebody move. It's just an entry-level guitar. I'm so unprepared for this. If there wasn't a thing called copyrights, I could sing a song for you. Copyrights. Well, I'm broke, love sick and drifting. It's very sad that this one owner, 1985 Harley Davidson Ironhead, has been sitting here. But while I'm down here, I'm gonna get this baby out. I'm gonna try to dial in the brakes on this because I think the last time we drove this car after we put our Cadillac master cylinder in, it was pretty goofy. Something was going on with our 67 C10 here. I don't remember, but I gotta charge that battery on the floor and we gotta drive this thing to the Lampasas, Texas post office and make sure that the old P.O. box is actually empty, make sure it's actually closed out. And in one of the last, was it the last, or maybe it was the first moving update video here on the extra channel, I don't remember. I couldn't play drums for you because I didn't know what the drumsticks were. They were right there the whole time. This is all our cabinets that used to be up here. Oh, I'm gonna have to take some of this stuff out to go to the P.O. box. That'll all be here on the extra channel. I think while I'm down here, I think we're just gonna get the 350 fired up in this. I think we need to do seals and gaskets on our Saginaw 4-speed. Put the transmission in the car. See if the drive shaft that we have is too long or too short. Spirits are high, but at the end of the day, all of this it's not fun. But I've got a great kid. I've got cool cars. Oh, and I'm taking this with me, the C10, the 67 C10, with me back up to Oklahoma. I'll haul it up there with me because my daughter is, she's about to get her permit. And you know what vehicle she wants? She wants to drive a 67 C10, 3 on the tree. If your kid asks for a 67 C10 with a 3 on the tree, you just say yes, okay? All right, I'll check in with you. Everything's gonna be all right. Hey, hey, we're the monkeys.